Wild About the Zoo is presented by the Hutchinson News in partnership with the Hutchinson Zoo.
Hi, welcome to Wild About the Zoo. I'm Adam Stewart with the Hutchinson News, and with me today is Ryan VanZant, Zoo Director, and a ferret.
Yeah, this is our domestic ferret. He's part of our education programs that travels to schools and groups throughout the area to teach more about animals and the environment. And this guy's been with us for a few years now, and he's always a fan favorite when he comes out at different events and birthday parties and things like that for kids to learn a little bit more about why ferrets are important.
Okay. You were telling me before we got started filming that this is related to the black-footed ferret, which is found in the United States.
Sure. The black-footed ferret is our endemic ferret that lives here in the U.S. In fact, they actually live in Canada. And at one point in time, it was the most endangered mammal in the entire world. There was only 18 of them left in the entire world. They actually thought they were extinct for a number of years. And then a small group of that 18 was found in Wyoming in the early 80s, I believe. And because of zoos and the U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service, they started breeding those animals in captivity. And after a while, their numbers began to rise, and they've actually released them back into the wild now. I believe there's around 300 to 400 living in the wild, and there's a few thousand living in zoos, still part of that breeding program. So you can come here to the Hutchinson Zoo, and you can actually see one of the most endangered mammals in the entire world. It's pretty neat that we can house them here, and it's a really interesting conservation success story.
Okay. This ferret is very long and skinny.
Mm-hmm.
I imagine that probably has something to do with what they eat and how they find food.
Right, well these guys like to eat rodents, and the rodents that they like to eat live in holes. So they're long and skinny like this and very flexible so that they can move all different directions through those holes and chase down their food. The black-footed ferret's favorite food? Prairie dogs. So they are found in prairie dog colonies, and that's where they live their entire lives. They eat the prairie dogs that live there. They form their dens inside of the prairie dog holes, and they're built very similar to this, and they've got a little longer neck, but still very similar, but actually about half this size. So a prairie dog's a pretty good sized meal for them.
Yeah. I smell a little bit of a distinct odor with this ferret. Is that something that's normal?
Yeah, the weasel species, which they're in that mustelid family, all have kind of a smell to them that it's not quite skunky, but it's in the same family.
Okay. Hello.
Now this is not a typical ferret coloration, this is an albino ferret. So what albino means is lack of pigmentation. So if an animal is normally another color and they come out all white with no pigmentation, even their eyes have no pigmentation. So his eyes are actually pink, if you can get a good look at them, but they don't have pigmentation in them either, so they completely come out these colors. There's some other different times like leucism that can also make them white, but then they still do have some pigment in their eyes and in other places. But when it's a low percentage, but even albinos even happen in the wild from time to time. It's just they lose that camouflage coloring when that happens, and they're a lot more vulnerable to predators and other things, easier to find.
What would the natural, usual coloring be for ferrets, either for this kind or for the black-footed?
Mainly brown, and the domestic ferret and the black-footed ferret are very similar. They're mostly brown, but they have a black mask on their face, kind of like a bandit or Zorro or something like that across their eyes. Probably works when they're coming out of a hole to help kind of block the sun a little bit, kind of like athletes putting eye black under their eyes. Maybe allow them to see, you know how it is when you come out of a dark place and your eyes need to adjust. It probably helps along those lines somewhat. But it definitely kind of gives them a reputation, I think. A lot of different weasels, as well as raccoons, kind of gives them a reputation of being evil or dastardly or up to no good, just because of how we humans have been ingrained to think a certain way by a certain look. Owls as well. Owls are viewed to be very intelligent because it kind of looks like they have glasses and they're wise, but if you're being perfectly honest, owls probably aren't very high up on the intelligence level as far as birds go. They have a very small brain inside of that great big head.
Okay. Thank you very much for taking the time to talk with us. This has been Wild About the Zoo.